everyone, Dave Barton here. It is time for our February newsletter. Just a few shout outs here. First of all, our public works team have been amazing. This Mother Nature has been, seems to be a little aggressive this year with the weather, and the teams just continue to go above and beyond to make sure our roads are safe. So thanks to those teams, thanks to their families for putting in the type of hours that they have been. Also, our fire department, there's been a lot of very significant weather, and that means some additional collisions. Thanks to those teams, thanks to their families. Our firefighters have pagers on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they have to respond at all hours to make sure that they're helping us on those days that we need it the most. So thanks to those teams for everything that they do as well. I'm going to talk a little bit about that actually with Vision Zero. One of my jobs at the region is I'm the regional council representative on Vision Zero. And Vision Zero is all about traffic safety, whether it's pedestrians or driving. A couple things, we just had our meeting this morning, our most recent meeting, and a couple things to be aware of. When you're driving, especially with the snowbanks the way they are right now, and with the way your cars are set up, there's more and more people walking and riding bikes and things like that on the roads. Be really aware of pedestrians. We're doing some things from a traffic light perspective to make sure that the pedestrians are a little bit further so they're within your visibility when you start making turns. But around the region, we continue to have people hit by vehicles as they're crossing the road. It's a lot of those right angle collisions. So keep your eyes open for pedestrians. That way we certainly don't want anyone to get hurt. The other one is, if you're in a collision, especially if it's poor visibility or the roads are slippery, if you're in a collision, when you get out of your car, you're at a huge risk. That's when we've seen some really bad injuries, is when people get out of their car and then they get hit. That's happened a number of times over the last couple of years. Folks, please be really conscious of where you are. Think about the risks that you're taking when you're stepping out of your vehicle, because as soon as you're outside of the bubble of your vehicle, you're at tremendous risk of injury or death if you do get hit. So be very aware that the safest place you can be after a collision is right in your car. So just something to think about. We do have some questions as well. Jen, what's the first one?
Sure. In the fall, Councillor Garrett advised that the speed limits on Highway 47 from Goodwood to Regional Road 30 were to be changed to higher limits. As of today, there has been no change. Please advise.
Yes, a great question. That section, and we're talking about just west of Goodwood on 47. There was a fair bit of construction there in the last year. The region did a lot of work. The problem is there was a very small gap between the end of this year's construction season and winter. And one of the things that didn't get complete during that gap was the speed limit change. So Bruce is very much aware of that, and he's laser focused on getting that done. They need to do they have to drill some holes and things like that and get some locates done, and that was difficult with the weather. So Bruce is on it, he's aware of it, he's talked to me about that several times. So that will get done fairly early spring.
Okay, next question from Amy. I understand the need for a four-way stop at Davis and the 6th concession, but as someone who travels the 6 to 47 from the south, I see absolutely no need for a stop sign at 6 and Old Stovall Road. Coming up from the south would be the worst, and it's a fairly steep hill. Why is it being considered when nothing was noted about accidents there?
Yeah. Again, very good question. First, let's talk about Davis Drive in the 6th. In the last year, I think there's been 16 collisions at that spot. So we are making a change there to make that road safer at the 6th and Davis. We also have issues at the 6th and Sanford, and make sure if you're talking to your friends and family, make sure they realize that Sanford and the 6th is only a two-way stop. We're going to be working on signage or something to try and make that more obvious to people, because often people think something's a four-way stop and then they pull out, and that's also the cause of a lot of the collisions at the 6th and Davis. The reason why we are looking at the 6th and Old Stovall Road for a four-way stop is the sight lines coming out of Old Stovall Road are incredibly poor. It's very difficult to see cars coming up that hill. It's a very blind corner, and I drive it fairly often. Whenever I do, I have to check and make sure that there's no one coming. So my concern there, even though there hasn't been a collision yet, is that when there is one, it will most likely be fatal, and that's the concern. We want to make sure people are as safe as they can be. We have heard you. We know that there's concerns about that additional stop sign because of that hill. We do have stop signs at the top of other hills like Mill and other places like that we seem to be able to navigate. We also have a four-way stop at Durham 1 and Ravenshoe where there's a stop sign on a hill, and people seem to be able to navigate that fairly well. There's a couple times a year that it's tough. We'll need engineers to find a way to make that happen, to allow for a stop sign, and we'll get them to take another look to see if there's any other options other than a four-way stop that will make sure that we don't have a fatal collision there. We hear you. I certainly have heard from lots of people that have concerns about it. Again, my concern is a really bad collision at that spot and the lives that collision would impact. Okay, next.
Sure. The next is just regarding snow removal. Why has it been so poor this year?
So again, I would say it hasn't been poor. We've had lots of people asking about snowbank removal and things like that. The snow, typically in a year like this, we get 6 or 8 inches of snow and then it melts, and then 6 or 8 inches of snow. The snow has just not melted this year, so the snowbanks are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The region of Durham have been amazing about removing snow very quickly from our downtown streets and from our regional roads in town. But we have a lot of roads, and snow removal to actually truck it away takes a huge amount of time. So the teams are working as much as they can. I know the roads are getting pretty narrow. The problem is we've got 650 lane kilometers of road, and if we started removing snow today to try and remove those snowbanks, we wouldn't be done for years. It takes a team almost a day to remove about 500 meters of snowbank. So it's just really time consuming. They're trying to hit the most dangerous spots first, and just be patient with us. We're working on it. And again, the teams are working around the clock to try and keep us safe and to keep our roads clear so we can get to and from work and our kids can get to school. Thanks so much. We encourage lots of questions. We like the harder the questions are, the better. So keep them coming. Thanks, everyone. And have a great March.